All right. Hey, everybody. This is Parrish. Time for another video, Coach on Demand, where we deal with emotional skill sets. This is instruction. Today, we're dealing with stress. And actually distress. You'll come to realize that distress is the enemy. Stress, we love stress. What we're also going to try to do is give you the tools for problem solving, because these are the skills that you're going to be using. Emotional intelligence skills, and then we bring in our tool of the 6 cylinders. Let's get right to the lesson objective. This is personal performance. This is you becoming more, doing more, applying what we know, learning to isolate the chatter during problems, adversity, and setbacks. So we don't have to talk about this. But we do want to talk about the skills of isolating and regulating your chatter. Obviously, once we get to that point, now we can identify personal stressors. Again, stressors I'm going to reference as a good thing in our daily routine. So let's get right on into it. We've got a great video here. Stanford University. You can find this video. You can actually go to the website, and you can see it under Video Coach on Demand. See, I already got it pulled up. Go to Video Coach. You can see we're going to use... Actually, I'm a little early on that one. I beg your pardon. I'm not going to use collateral yet. This is what we want to do. This is actually your EWOD. Okay. So let's just go right back to that other video player. Let's check this guy out. And what you're recognizing here, what he's going to teach us about, is the stress response system. Okay. So let's take a listen.
When the zebra escapes, its stress response shuts down. But human beings can't seem to find their off switch.
We turn on the exact same stress response for purely psychological states, thinking about the ozone layer, the taxes coming up, mortality, 30-year mortgages. We turn on the same stress response, and the key difference there is we're not doing it for a real physiological reason, and we're doing it nonstop.
Okay. It's very important here. This is chatter.
By not turning off the stress response when reacting to life's traffic jams, we wallow in a corrosive bath of hormones. Even though it's not life or death, we hyperventilate, our hearts pound, muscles tense.
Okay. Ironically, after a while, the stress response is more damaging than the stressor itself, because the stressor is some psychological nonsense that you're falling for.
Okay, I love the psychological nonsense part. Okay, I think you're getting what he's talking about here. Again, let's stay focused on the KSA model. We're going to talk about what you need to know, the skills that you need to engage, and your abilities, what you need to be able to do. So isolating the chatter, what we just heard him say is psychological nonsense. That's when your chatter is just kind of going all over the place. Okay. What we're going to do is here, let's go to the MET model. I'm going to back out of this one a little bit. Actually, you've seen this one before. Okay. One of the tools that we're using here is module 2, the 6 cylinders. All right, so I'm going to zoom in on the 6 cylinders. What you need to understand here about the 6 cylinders is this is a tool that you can access personally anytime in your 86.4. And let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and look at the knowledge which you must have. You must know and understand that your chatter will get distracted throughout the day. Okay, now you know that, but that doesn't mean you're diagnosed with a disease or ADD. That's normal. Okay, everybody deals with this. You deal with it. Your employees deal with it. Your family's dealing with it. But you get distracted with your chatter throughout what we call the 86.4. We're going to talk about that. These distractions come when we can kind of recognize them, and this is how we isolate. We got to learn to recognize our thoughts. We got to learn to be aware of our thoughts, and we need to learn to recognize our thoughts. Well, that's the tool we use. We're looking at the 6 cylinders, and as we regulate and become aware of our thoughts throughout the day, what we got to learn to do is kind of isolate them. In other words, we've all heard that you're not supposed to take your briefcase to the beach, but we do it anyhow, right? I'm sitting at home with my beautiful family, and yet I'm thinking about my career. Or you're sitting at your office or in the middle of an important meeting, and you're thinking about the bills. Or you're out trying to have a good time, and you're thinking about what the doctor just said. Or you're actually trying to be spiritual and talk with your higher power, and you're actually talking with him a lot about the financial situation that you're in. So, again, the way we use this tool is for you to be able to isolate your chatter throughout your day. And that's the 86,400 seconds of your day. The other thing you need to know is you are responsible for regulating your chatter throughout the day. It's your chatter. Okay, that's what you want to say to the younger generations. You know, you got some young people in your family. You want to say, look, we come over here on this little model here. We say, look, you must accept responsibility for your chatter. Okay, and as you accept responsibility for your chatter, you start isolating it and you're putting it in these cylinders: the spiritual cylinder, the health cylinder, the family cylinder, this career cylinder, your finance cylinder, and your social cylinder. Those are the 6. Okay, so that's how you're regulating your thoughts throughout the day, but it's your responsibility. Okay, the skills that you must engage, that's where we come in with the emotional intelligence framework: self-aware and self-regulation. Those are the 2. Okay, you know that framework from Goleman's model, Dr. Goleman. So in the self-awareness skill set, knowing what you know about being distracted all the day, throughout the day, and that it's your responsibility, you must learn to monitor your chatter in the 86.4, and you're looking for frequent thoughts that keep reappearing. Okay, that's how we're going to try to isolate these problems in adversity. Eventually, when the frequency pops up and you're saying, okay, well, here I am at my work and I'm thinking about my 16-year-old daughter. I need to regulate that. That's how we would use this tool, if you will. When you're self-regulating, again, that's the skill you're using. Direct your chatter to seek understanding. You're directing your chatter, you're regulating your chatter to study and observe when you have an adversity or problem. So again, you've isolated it into your cylinders. Now what we want to kind of do is we're going to go back over into here. We want to make mature decisions as you regulate. So you want to seek, and you want to study, and you want to observe. Okay, what you will traditionally do is that you will, in an immature way in your chatter, you will struggle with this person, this place, this adversity. You will be critical. Internally, you'll have disunity, okay? You'll just have a tendency to result to your personal opinions, and you'll have apathy and doubt and just a bunch of immature stuff you're going to do naturally. That's why these skills are important if you're going to be able to do the following. Take your thoughts captive. That's the skill set. And replace them, or excuse me, not replace them, but place them on the shelf for later. So, wherever it is you find yourself throughout the day in your chatter being, what we always know is that you must stay focused on the now. That's the other ability. Regulate repetitive thoughts so that you stay focused on the immediate now. The whole idea is wherever you're at in your 86.4, whether you're at the house, be there, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Be there in your chatter, okay? If you're at work, wherever your work is a sporting event and you're the best in class athlete, keep your chatter there. It's another part of what we know in your chatter is that when it's running rampant, it's going to be coming all directions. In the 86.4. One of the lessons we teach in class is if there's 86,400 seconds in your day, on a 1-to-1, which your mind does move faster, you've got at least 86,400 thoughts today. So how many of them are trash? How many of them popped up at the wrong time in the wrong place? See, that's why you have to learn to regulate this stuff. Okay? Now here's your EWOD. This is your emotional workout of the day. We're going to wrap this up. I'm going to go ahead and go back to that video that we were talking about. You got to love Collateral. Classic scene here about taking vacations throughout the day. Multiple vacations throughout the day. Take a listen to this one. Classic scene in the taxi cab. You've probably seen it. This is what you should be doing. Have your picture and well.
You need a vacation.
I just had a vacation on the Harbor Freeway.
No, not in the cab. You need to get your head straight. Get your unified self up. Get harmonic,
When was the last time you took a break?
I go on a vacation all the time.
How
All the
often?
time.
A dozen times a day.
A dozen times a day.
My favorite spot.
Right there. You see that?
Maldives Island.
A simple picture. All right?
It's my own private getaway.
You got to have that.
Things get heavy for me. I take 5 minutes out, and I just go there.
You take 5 minutes out. Now, what he's talking about is he's regulating his chatter. He's aware of his chatter. He's regulating his chatter. He's using that picture, right, to help do that. And what it's doing in your stress response system. Okay, let's go back to that other video, that psychological nonsense. Okay, here's how you navigate that throughout the day. Some people look at meditation, yoga. That's this, okay? But you don't have to physically go sit in a yoga room. You can do this anywhere. Again, like you just heard this line, this actor, he says, 12 dozen times a day, okay? So that's what you need to do. Take inventory. Here's a simple exercise. Here's what I want you to do. Excite, fear, and most. When you're sitting there regulating your chatter and you're talking to yourself, those are the three I want you to find. What pops up the most in your chatter? Write it down. Fear. What scares you? Right now, just today. Write it down. And what excites you? What creates and stirs that inner desire? Write it down. Okay? And you're actually applying 1, 2, and 3 of emotional intelligence. You're becoming self-aware, you're self-regulating, you're finding out what's motivating you. Okay? Now, when you're done with this in your personal pursuit, and you want to be a leader, you want to mentor, you want to coach, you want to parent, then what you do is you take that and you teach someone how to isolate stressors. And that's what you're doing. You're becoming smart. You're becoming smart about your emotions. And you're doing it throughout the day so that as problems or adversity pop up, you're able to isolate those in your chatter. And you're using the 6-cylinder theory, the tool, to do that. Okay, we're almost ready to wrap this up. I want to show you one quick little illustration here. This is something I actually do in class, and this is kind of an interactive when we do it in class. It makes it fun, but here's a quick model for you. This is typically where we're at. In our chatter, when it comes to us recognizing our chatter and just taking inventory, if you will, in the 86-4. This is the model we use to get to this. This is where we want to be. This is not natural. People that are smart about their emotions are hanging out here at the 86,400 seconds level of each day. And what they're doing is they're aware of their chatter and they learn to regulate their chatter. Okay? Most of us are not here. Most of us are here. I'm just trying to get through the day. I'm trying to get to the next meal. I'm trying to get to the next party, to the next payday. It's always out there. I'm always in my chatter. I'm either, you can go back to the windows. You can look at the windows here. I'm either rewinding or I'm either forecasting, but rarely am I in the now. And that's where you want to keep your chatter, in the now, as much as possible. So, again, use your exercise here. Use your EWOT. Practice it often, frequently. Teach it. And I wish you the best. Thank you so much for your time. God bless. This is PT, signing off.